Hello student, good afternoon. Today we will start the types of vectors. Carriers can be people or organisms that have been infected with a disease causing agent but are asymptomatic. They can transmit the disease to other through mediums like body fluids, blood and saliva. Carriers are often harmful to the human health because they can transmit pathogenic bacteria, parasites and viruses that can cause infectious diseases. Vectors. Vectors are organisms that can transmit disease from an infected person to healthy persons. Without having the disease, vectors can be organisms such as intermediate parasites or microbes. Some common pathogens vectors includes mosquitoes, flies and sandflies, lice, fleas, ticks and mites. Types of vectors. Mechanical vectors. A mechanical vector is a living organism that carries disease causing agent from infected individuals to non-infected individuals through physical contact. Mechanical vectors pick up infectious agent on the outside of the bodies and transmit them passively. Here are some examples of mechanical vectors. Houseflies can land on cow dung, contaminated their appendages with bacteria and then land on the food. Example, housefly. In the housefly, anterior side, head, mouth parts are also there, antenna, head, compound eyes, 3 ocelli, prothorax, mesothorax, metathorax, squama of forewings and metathorax, abdomen, tarsus, claws, pulvillus. This is the parts of the mosquito, a housefly. Stable flies can act as mechanical vectors of animal trypanosomiasis. Biological vectors. First is mechanical vectors, second is biological vectors. A biological vector is a living organism that carries and transmits disease causing organisms from one host to another. These vectors, such as mosquitoes and ticks, can carry pathogens that multiply within their bodies and be delivered to new host. Mosquitoes, ticks, flies, fleas and lice are complete examples of biological vectors. Mosquitoes, ticks, flies, fleas and lice are the examples of biological vectors. Next heading, that is the reservoirs. Definition. A reservoir is a host organisms or environmental that harbors and transmit a pathogens to a target populations. Characteristics. Reservoirs can be made up of one or more species, and the species may or may not be the same as the target population. Reservoirs can also include vector species which are distinct from natural reservoirs. Importance. Identifying reservoirs is important for preventing and treating diseases, outbreaks in human and animals, especially for diseases without a vaccine. Example, birds that harbors avian influenza and the Ebola viruses are example of reservoirs. A reservoir is a population of organisms or environments where a pathogen can live, grow, and be transmitted to a target population. Reservoirs is a habitat or population of organisms where pathogens lives, multiplies, and can be transmitted to a target population. Reservoirs can be living organisms such as animals or insects or non-living environments such as soil or water. Reservoirs can be important for understanding and preventing the spread of disease. Identifying reservoirs can help prevent and treat diseases outbreaks, especially for disease without a vaccine. For example, the mass culling of birds that carry avian influenza has helped contain possible epidemics. Reservoirs can help explain how pathogens persist over time. For example, some viruses can survive outside of a living cell for a period of time. Human can be reservoirs for many infectious diseases and can spread them to others through direct contact or droplet spreads. Important of reservoirs. Disease spread. Reservoirs can be a source of infection and disease outbreaks. Disease controls. Isolation or destroying reservoirs can help control zoonotic diseases. Zoonotic diseases. Diseases symptoms. Reservoirs host may not show symptoms of the disease, making them like to transmit. Host vector relationship. The host vector relationship is the relationship between an organism that allows an infectious agent to live in it and an organism that transmits the infectious agent to another organisms. Host, an organism that allows an infectious agent to live in it for a brief period or its entire development life cycle. Vector, an organism that transmits infectious agent from one species to another. Here are some examples of the host vector relationship. Malaria. The mosquito is the vector that carries the Plasmodium pathogens into the human bloodstream where it completes its life cycle. Dengue. The Aedes mosquitoes is the vector that transmits the dengue virus to the humans. Cholera and typhoid fever. A flea lands on fishes and then on your food, depositing pathogens from the fishes. Fishes means fecal matter that you then ingest. Okay, this is the types of vectors and reservoirs. Carriers, reservoirs, and vectors. Okay, thank you.